joy, and relationship. But the common hub where all the spokes join is the one center where all souls meet. So, as I move out into the world, I live out my uniqueness. But when I dare to look into my core, I come upon the one common center where all lives begin. In that center, we are one and the same. For mysteriously and powerfully, when I look deep enough into you, I find me. And when you dare to hear my fear in the recess of your heart, you recognize it as your own secret, as though no one else knew. And that unexpected wholeness that is more than each of us, but common to all, that moment of unity is the atom of God. Such a beautiful moment. So now my pleasure is to introduce a musician who has been such an essential part of our community, particularly through these COVID times when we've had different challenges than we're used to. And he is a rock upon which we've built our ministry. And he always gives so generously and so beautifully. So I know that we all can't wait to hear our beloved Sandy Hemingway.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
This is a song I wrote a number of years ago with my midwife, Bobby. It's called We Are One. When we look into In my heart, this I know, I can feel in my soul, you and I forevermore, we are one, even when we're far apart, we are one. Thank you.
Thank you so very much, Sandy. That was absolutely beautiful song, and the absolute perfect song for today, for today's message. So, community. Right, community is thought of as a group of people who live in a particular geographical area. But even more than that, community is a group of individuals that are connected to each other by one or more attributes. Even the etymology of the word supports this definition because the root and the suffix of the word community is common, unity. We are all members of many different communities, each one of us. There's family, a community of our family, our friends, our work co-workers, our neighborhood, or our spiritual communities, for example. And we move in and out of these communities all of the time, depending upon the situation. As human beings, we all need a sense of belonging. And that sense of belonging is what connects us to many of our relationships or to many of our communities that we develop. Belonging is the innate human desire to be a part of something that is greater than ourselves. It is a primal, fundamental, basic human need, just like the need for food or water or shelter. A sense of belonging is often crucial to a person's well-being, right? It improves our health, our happiness, and our motivation. As we see our lives through our connections with other people, we recognize that everyone experiences struggles in their life. Everyone experiences times of hardship. We recognize that we're not alone in this human experience that we're having, and in that awareness there is comfort. Belonging can be rooted in all kinds of experiences, such as a person or a place or a relationship or a vocation or an art or a culture or, in this case, a spiritual center. It can be rooted in a family or a community or a state or a nation. Community isn't a luxury. It is not a luxury. It is something that is essential to our ability to not only survive, but to thrive. I don't know about you, but I absolutely love all of the various communities that I am a part of, and I can't imagine my life without them. Some of them I don't see that often, and yet when we do get together, it's magnificent. A couple of weekends ago, I was in Santa Barbara, and I happened to be able to get together with some friends, many of which I hadn't seen until since 2017 or even before that. And as we came together, there was just this remembrance of all of the memories and the times that we shared that was just delicious. Now, for me, this idea of a divine community is so much more than just belonging. It's so much more than just an experience of being a part of something or having a membership to a gym. That's a community, but it's so much more than that. This idea of a divine community is a deeper connection. It's a deeper experience. On the spiritual plane, the truth is that we often, most of us, often forget that even when we are utterly alone, we are connected one to the other. Sandy sang about it this morning. The reading was about it. We are connected one to another by something that is greater than group membership. It's greater than politics. It's greater than ideology. We're connected by love. And no matter how separated we think we are by these physical bodies and by what we think and believe and what others think and believe, we are one. None of the rest of that matters. We are one. We belong to each other in ways that can never be broken, that can never be separated. We, each of us, are part of one indivisible whole. The fundamental truth that we live in a world where we belong to one another fits our teaching, the teachings of science of mind, to perfection, because we believe in the unity of all life. That there is only one life, whether you're talking about human life or animal life or plant life or mineral life. There is only one life. There is only ever one thing that is happening. One God, one life, one love, one human family, one spiritual community. Ernest Holmes says, I believe in the brotherhood of humanity, the parenthood of God, and a unity being all together in one perfect whole. I believe spirit is in the wind and wave and manifests its presence throughout all of nature. This is the basis of all new thought teaching, the spiritual union of all life. So the divine community then is a group of people, right, who individually and collectively choose to live as a conscious, integral part of a vital, sacred planet. A vital, sacred planet that includes all of life, human, animal, plant, mineral. Their fundamental thought is we are one. That's their fundamental thought. All beings, all things are one. We are inextricably linked to one another. This oneness unifies all of God's manifestations into the experience of one divinity, into the experience of one humanity. There is no other. You know, we talk about it all the time. These other people, they did it, you know. There is no other. There are no enemies. All beings are expressions of the divine. Divine, individualized divine expressions. The divine community is commingled like water in the ocean. It's impossible to determine where one drop begins and another drop ends, because there is no true separation of individualized expressions of God. And just like those water drops, just because we have these bodies and they appear to make us separate, there is no true separation. The focus of the divine community is on a world that is greater than individual personalities, greater than families, religions, political divisions, and nations. The focus is greater than the sensory world, than the material world. They the people that are involved in the divine community act not just for themselves and not just for the other people that are currently living on the planet with them, but they're actually acting for future generations and for the planet itself, taking everything into consideration, because we are all one, whether we're talking about the past or the present or the future. The divine community recognizes that everything and everyone they see or experience, whether that is directly or indirectly, is a part of that divine community. It's an inclusive community, a community that works for all, human and non-human alike. Everyone is fulfilled in the divine community. The divine community is a place of love and belonging. It's a place in which we are seen and known. It's a place in which we are accepted and respected. A place in which we can bare our hearts and souls, dare to be vulnerable and not feel judged. It's a place in which we are loved no matter what. And by we, I'm talking about everyone, with no exceptions. The divine community is a place where we can relax and not have to be something that we are not. Where we can open ourselves up to the others in the divine community in such a way that we create a bond that is like no other in existence. That this bond creates an intimacy, a space in which we feel secure and safe. We all have dreams and desires. We all have moments in which we can experience fear and doubt and worry. The divine community is a place in which we can share all of who we are, without limiting ourselves, without hesitation, without leaving some of it to the side. And this can be a really freeing experience for us. A group of people that we love and that love us and provide a space of friendship, intimacy, and belonging that our birth family might not. A place in which we find the respect that we need. The divine community knows who we are at our very core. They respect our essence, and they accept that at any given moment in time, we are doing the very best that we are able to do, and they value the inner work that we are doing to grow, both mentally and emotionally and spiritually. They hold the truth for us even when we are unable to do so. And if you have someone to do that for you in prayer, it's an amazing feeling. It's an amazing experience to have someone hold the truth for you when you cannot do it. They affirm our wholeness, our wisdom, our creativity, our abundance, and our perfection. They wrap us up in compassion, nurture us, and encourage us to heal, to forgive ourselves and each other, and to love others and ourselves, even more importantly. The divine community is a place in which we feel honored, in which the environment itself assists us to actualize our own potential. Part of healthy individual work is to give to others, to contribute to others, to contribute to the community itself, but at the same time, ideally, a healthy community supports each and every single person's individual healthy growth and development. It's symbiotic, right? Interdependent. The divine community supports us as we learn to loosen our white-knuckled grip on our misplaced, fierce independence. It supports us as we stop trying to be perfect and infallible. It supports us as we realize that we cannot do everything by ourselves. It offers the practical, emotional, and spiritual support that we need to really thrive in our lives. It can be a place of supportive interdependence. The divine community is characterized by open communication, candor, unconditional acceptance, trust, and loving accountability. Our divine communities are the people that know us deeply, that know us intimately. They can see our blind spots when we are unable to see them, and they can gently and compassionately open our eyes to them, allowing us to heal them and to move beyond them as we grow and evolve. They are the people who know our dreams and our aspirations. They know our potential, and they will not let us off the hook. They hold us accountable. They call us on our crap and assist us to see when we are playing small or rationalizing our dreams. They subtly, or perhaps not so subtly, light a fire under us to move us toward the actualization or the realization of our potential. In the divine community, we honor one another. We honor in one another the courage and the confidence to let loose those things that no longer support our journey. Not always easy to do, but the divine community supports us in doing that. They push us out of our comfort zones, and they really provide new approaches to do things that we've never done before. They give us the inspiration to take that leap of faith. They see us, support us, encourage us, champion us, and celebrate us all along the way. The bottom line is that the power of a divine community is due to its ability for each individual to have his or her need for love and belonging met, his or her need for acceptance, respect, and value met. It's a place where we all can be supported in a loving way as we do the inner work to accept ourselves. And it's actually creates an environment that actually assists us to actualize our own potential. As I think about this kind of community, I think about the idea of the beloved community as described by Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King, Carol's favorite. Dr. Martin Luther King popularized the notion of the beloved community, and he envisioned it as a society based on justice, equal opportunity, and the love of one's fellow human beings. It's a global vision in which all people can share in the wealth of the earth. Dr. King's beloved community speaks about and is based on and exhibits, right, agape love. Agape love is the love of one for many. Agape love is the love of God operating through the human heart. It seeks to preserve and to create really deep and wonderful communities. For Dr. King, the human community that meets the basic needs of every human being becomes beloved. Beloved means dearly loved. The beloved community speaks about a deep affection for the many over the one, but it also points to the quality and the depth of our shared connections. The beloved community unfolds as a divine tapestry of truth, of light, of compassion, and of love. It's woven together by divine intention and threads of faith. It's fueled by beauty, imagination, commitment, creativity, humility, compassion, and sacrifice. It's woven together by those who are willing to give up their perfected individualism for the sake of a love that knows absolutely no boundaries and absolutely no exceptions. Woven together by a group of people who are willing to be in service to one another. As I think about this kind of community, I think about the CSL global vision of a world that works for everyone. Our global vision beautifully states that we envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all of life. We are one, connected together in ways that can never be broken. Our beliefs, our thoughts, our feelings, what we say, and what we do profoundly affects the whole. Profoundly affects the whole. So the invitation is to remember that love is who we are and to practice the presence in all that we do. Be in daily communion with God and to tap into the love that we are and be willing to allow it to flow through and as us in all situations and in all relationships of our lives. The invitation is to be in service to each other in the service of love itself. The invitation is to be the presence of God in every encounter within the community. Let love and wisdom and peace lead the way. Allow ourselves to receive support from everyone in the community, remembering that we cannot give what we don't allow ourselves to receive. Giving and receiving are one and the same. We can't have one without the other. The invitation is to live from a world view that says that we were created to be God's ambassadors on the planet. We were created to be responsible to one another. We were created to be responsible to all of God's manifestations, and we were created to be responsible to the planet itself. Our worldview, our context for living determines what we do and how we do it, and how different would what we do and how we do it be if we were to live from a context that we are all one. The invitation is to reverently listen, to actively listen and engage with what others are saying. It's the only way to really build deep and lasting relationships. Along with actively listening, we have to accept that not everyone holds the same views that we hold about a particular topic. We have to be willing to acknowledge that their opinions at least deserve to be listened to, and accept that that is what they think, and to allow them the place to express it. The invitation is to contribute. To contribute because communities survive and thrive when everyone contributes. Be willing to serve the community. Say what we are willing to do for our community, and then be willing to do it. The invitation is to live in a world without getting caught up in the drama. Do not take things personally. Be unbotherable. We're encouraged to not let anything take us out of our conscious awareness of our deep and abiding connection to one another. And right, I mean, we've all experienced being taken out of that. See beyond the veil of fear, beyond the fog, to the love that is always behind it. And then choose love as though your lives and the lives of your communities depends on it, because in actuality it does. Earlier I spoke about belonging. To belong means existing as a part of something. What if the idea of belonging centers itself in the realm of a deepening sense of longing to be? What if we come to belong to one another is not a declaration that is bestowed upon us, but instead it flows from the depths of our being? What if we come to belonging not out of our base needs, but by the momentum of love made known by our willingness to let it shine out into the world from within us? Perhaps our cries for belonging can be answered in 2 words lived aloud. Welcome home. Home is where we belong. And when we are at the center of this communion of love, all of us are blessed and fulfilled. Divine community is about so much more than one person entering a physical space, whether that's a physical space or a digital space, and then another person entering that same area, and so on and so on. It's not merely a gathering of individuals coming together, but a recognition of the love that we all are at our very core. Who has heard of the word alchemy or alchemical? Now, alchemy is defined as the process of taking something ordinary and turning it into something extraordinary, sometimes in a way that cannot even be explained. It involves a seemingly magical process of transformation or of creation, or sometimes a combination of the two. The divine community is an almost alchemical reaction that happens among us that reminds us who and what we are capable of being and capable of becoming. It is heavenly. It is heavenly, and it exists wherever we are. It is deep, calling unto deep. It is conscious participation in the eternal fellowship of the divine together. It is conscious participation in the everlasting love of the divine together. There's a particular mystery about the divine community that is only revealed from within itself, can only be experienced when you're in it. This is the unmistakable, renewable sense of fellowship that exists whether we are meeting together in person weekly or not. That unmistakable fellowship always exists. In the space where I am me and you are you, there's a beautiful evolution that nudges us forward and pushes us beyond this moment into a new way of being, into a new expression of the one loving source, of the one loving substance. Our calling is to deepen our connections with one another, to not let anything get in the way of that connection. The divine community is established upon a rock of love that knows no bounds, but creates an everlasting bond in the heart and soul of humanity. Our community, the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living, is that kind of divine community. I mean, for gosh sakes, our tagline is welcome home. And even to put another thing on top of that, the tagline of Sophie's Grill and Bar is welcome home. Many of us can remember that first or that second or that third alchemical reaction that we experienced as being a part of this community. That moment of unbridled joy, that moment of unbelievable peace, or that moment of a deep connection that actually brought us to a moment of heartfelt tears. The bottom line is that when we are at home, we belong to one another in an unbelievable way. A way that allows us to champion each other through the joys and the sorrows of life. Today, more than ever, it is important that we live, move, and have our being within one global community, within the one divine community. Here at TCSL, we are the space for that. There is a depth and a quality to our connection, but we have to nurture it. We have to be present and available and accountable. We have to be willing to give something to it in order to get something back. When we do so, it will constantly support us in ways that we can't even imagine. When we are there for our divine community is there and available for us. The invitation is to let this place and this love that we declare for each other, for life, for Spirit itself, to be a measure of a faith that is capable of welcoming each other home. A faith that is capable of revealing the divine community, a faith that is capable of going further together, and a faith that is capable of creating a world that works for everyone. And so it is. So it is. And so I invite us to turn within, to allow ourselves to revisit that center of our being, that light of the divine, to allow ourselves to turn away from the material world, the sensory world, and turn our attention inward to the spiritual world. To know that we are one with it in ways that can never be broken, that can never be separate, that despite these physical bodies that appear to divide us, to separate us one from each other and from all sentient beings on the planet, there is no true separation. There is only one thing happening here. And it is from that place of unity that I speak these words about and for each of us this morning, individually and collectively as the Triangle Center for Spiritual Living, truly knowing that there is a way of living our lives from a context of that oneness. That we can tap into it through our spiritual practices, through stillness, through a walk in the woods. Any moment that we have to get quiet enough to listen to that wisdom within. I know that there is that within us that knows the importance of living our lives from that space. And I claim ease and grace around our doing just that. I know that there is a space within each of us that recognizes the love that is in each and every one of us, that calls forth that love from within us to shine out into all of our relationships, all situations, all circumstances of our life, letting that love lead the way, knowing that it smooths all of the rough and crooked spots. I claim for each of us today that as we recognize or continue to recognize who we really are and who everything and everyone really is, that our lives grow, our lives expand in every way, in ways that we could never have imagined, in beautiful, loving, creative, abundant ways. That the divine community is something, not some far-off idea, but something that we can realize, that we can experience in our own lives, that we have as close as this particular community, and that we can create in other communities, and that we can ultimately recognize that one divine community that connects everything and everyone on the planet. And when we do, everything changes. I'm so grateful to know this truth, so grateful to speak these words, so grateful for the power of prayer, knowing that these words are loosed into a law that only ever says yes. That my words are clothed in form even as they are spoken, so I speak them and I release them with love and gratitude and full expectation of their manifestation, letting go and letting God be God. And I invite everyone to anchor this prayer for themselves, for each other, and for our community simply by saying, "And so it is, and so it is." Thank you all so very much. It is now time for our conscious giving. The Triangle Center for Spiritual Living is sustained by the giving of our time, talent, and treasure. This is the time every week where we offer financial support to assist this community to continue to be a beacon of light and love for ourselves and others. Together we affirm the truth that today's offering lifts this spiritual community, prospers the one giving, and contributes to the experience of sufficiency on the planet. We will now say our conscious giving affirmation, and we'll do it in a call and response. I live in an abundant universe that blesses and prospers my life. I give with gratitude, knowing that God is my source. And so it is. Thank you all so very much for your generous gifts. And now, it's with great pleasure that I welcome back to his piano the amazing Sandy Hemingway.
So I don't remember exactly where and when I wrote every song, but this one I do remember, because I actually wrote the words to this song at Water's Edge on a Sunday morning before the service started. And it was one of those times where I was writing lyrics and they just came so easily that when I was done, I had put so little effort into it. I was like, well, it's probably not very good. And it was only after I shared the song and I got some really positive feedback, it's like, well, maybe this is better than I thought it was. but I think it's very appropriate for today's service. It's called The Best Part of My Soul. The best part of my soul is compassion. The best part of my soul is love. The best part of my soul is the part that makes me whole. The best part of my soul is you. The best part of my day is the morning, potential rising like the sun. The best part of my day, knowing love will come my way. The best part of my day is you. I can't give if no one needs receiving. I can't help if no one is in need. I can't share the gifts in me if I'm all alone, you see. The best part of my soul is you. The best part of my heart is the giving. The best part of my heart is love. The best part of my heart is when you play a part. The best part of my heart is you. I can't give if no one needs receiving. I can't help if no one is in need. I can't share the gifts in me if I'm all alone, you see. The best part of my soul is you. The best part of my soul is you. The best part of my soul is you. The love of God, you see, needs both you and me. The best part of my soul is you. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Whoops. Thank you so much, Sandy. You know, what I love about Sandy is not only he's such a great musician, but he's such a great embodiment of what we talk about every day. You know, that was to me nothing but love flowing unconditionally, and a sign of our oneness. Because if I could do that, if I could share that with the world, that's what I would do. So thank you so much. So anyway, the whole thing about being a community is to share our time, talents, and treasures. And I may not have the talent of music that Sandy does, but we do have a whole crowd of talented practitioners and ministers who would love to pray for you. As Dusty said, There's nothing like somebody holding the truth for you if you can't see it yourself in that moment. So that is why we encourage everybody who would like to have some prayer support to go to our website at trianglecsl.org, and on the home page there's a button in the upper right-hand corner. Click on that button and fill in the request form. We will get that prayer and send it out to all the ministers and practitioners. And of course, you can always just contact one of us directly if you know who or what we are. Okay. If anyone would like to dedicate a flower dedication to anyone for anything, please contact Heather Abbott at info@trianglecsl.org or Reverend Dusty at dustyrippelmeyer@yahoo.com. So now I know a lot of people come to New Faith from other traditions, and that they often have experienced those traditions as being kind of full of guilt and shoulds and shouldn'ts and things like that. Well, we'd like to be the anti-guilt, the pro-choice community. And so during as I mentioned in the meditation, during the month of October, our Wednesday night services are going to be doing the book, The Four Spiritual Laws of Prosperity by Edwin Gaines, which is an incredible book. However, we also like to give you options of other things that you can do, because another part of our beloved community, Sophie's Bar and Grill, is having a one-night-only special event on one of those Wednesdays, Wednesday, October 20th. And at 6 p.m., they are doing a special wine tasting with a variety of wines from the country of Georgia. And they're paired with 4 new appetizers that they're serving, and all that for only $20. So if that calls to you, we say go with love. And if you want to tune in for Edwin Gaines, come here too. And whatever else you do, those are our top 2 choices, though, at the moment. Okay, and we also have the community that plays together, stays together. So we have a date announcement for an evening of bingo. It will be held on Friday, October 22nd from 6:30 to 9:30, and will be at the Lodge at Crossroads with more information to follow. All right, so new month, new affirmations. So I invite everybody to stand up. And the energy is rising, because this only works when you belt it out, okay? With feeling. So this is a call and response. So please say it with meaning and repeat after me. I am a whole, perfect, and complete expression of God.
I am a whole, perfect, and complete expression of God.
I am the presence of divine love wherever I am.
I am the presence of divine love wherever I am.
My calling is to deepen my connection with everything and everyone.
My calling is to deepen my connection with everything and everyone.
When we all attune ourselves to our spiritual magnificence,
When we all attune ourselves to our spiritual magnificence,
we are free to effectively serve the world.
we are free to effectively serve the world.
When we all take up the mantle, we create the divine community.
When we all take up the mantle, we create the divine community.
When we all do our part, we move the world to a higher expression of spirit.
When we all do our part, we move the world to a higher expression of spirit.
As we grow further together, the world brightens.
As we grow further together, the world brightens.
And so it is. So I ask you to, one last time, to close your eyes, turn within, as I say a word of thanksgiving for this magnificent service. Oh my goodness. And I close my eyes, but I am seeing that light shine from, whatever it is, the million points of light that is our community. Even through my eyes, though my eyes are closed, I feel that connect connected energy of love and beauty and peace and joy, abundance, magnificence, just shining upon me and through me and around me. It embraces me as my light embraces each other. And I know this is the truth, not just for those of us in the service, not just those of us who are part of TCSL, not just for the people we agree with or the people we're near or the people we admire, but for it all, for every person on the planet, every being, every animal, everything. And that feels so good. So I am so grateful. I'm so grateful for all the volunteers who have shared their time and their talents to make today happen. So grateful for Reverend Dusty and Andy who shared their wonderful talents. So grateful for every person who is a part of this service, because every drop in the ocean matters. Every drop in the ocean of love takes it that much higher. And so thank everyone for their contributions for today. Thank everyone for the difference I know that this is going to make in their day today and in their week to come. And I thank everyone who, just by being who you are, take us that much closer to a world that works for everyone. So I release this into the law that always says yes, and ask you to acclaim it for yourself and for our community and for our world with our words, and so it is.
And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you all so much.
Thank you all so very much for joining us today. Have a really wonderful week. We will see you soon, and I love you all very much. Take care.